it is that time of year again. It is casserole season. So today I will be sharing 5 new absolutely delicious casseroles with you. And these aren't your average casseroles because these are dump and go casseroles. So seriously, you guys, we're just dumping the ingredients into the casserole dish and then dinner just can't be any easier than that for you. Let's go get started. I'm sure you're going to love it. To start us off today, we are making this chicken Parmesan casserole. So I have a 9x13 baking dish right here. I'm spraying it with plenty of nonstick spray so nothing sticks. Then I added in 3 cups of water. Next, you're going to want to add in your raw chicken. So I'm just adding in 1 pound of cubed chicken breast. Now toss in 12 ounces of bow tie pasta or any type of pasta that you like. Now for the marinara sauce, you could use any brand of marinara sauce that you love. Just add 24 ounces of that in. Then season this with a half a teaspoon of pepper, 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning, and 1 teaspoon of salt. Give this a really good stir just to make sure all the pasta is covered in the liquid. Cover this now with aluminum foil, and you're going to want to bake this in a preheated oven to 400 degrees for about 40 minutes. Once the cooking time is up, just remove that aluminum foil and give this a really good stir. You're going to want to sprinkle your 1 cup of mozzarella cheese all over the top now. And since this is kind of like a chicken Parmesan casserole, you want to sprinkle 1 cup of panko breadcrumbs over the Parmesan cheese. This is going to make it really good. Bake this for an additional 10 minutes or until that cheese is nice and melty, and then you could serve this up. Whenever I make this chicken Parmesan casserole for my family, we hardly have any leftovers. It really is just that good. And then I did serve this alongside of a side salad, and kind of like to spice up the side salad, I found this mix at the store. I just found it like at my Kroger store. It's just a salad topper, and it does go well on top of lettuce. Now we're making this wonderful no-peak pork chop casserole. So I have a 9x13 baking dish right here that I sprayed with nonstick spray. I'm adding in 1 can of cream of chicken soup along with a can of cream of mushroom soup. I'm using the cream of mushroom soup with roasted garlic. I just think it adds so much great flavor, and I recommend you doing that, but if you can't find that at your store, normal cream of mushroom soup will work. Next, I added in 2 cups of chicken broth and a cup and a half of uncooked jasmine rice, or you could use white rice if you prefer. Give this a really good whisk to incorporate the ingredients together. Now you're going to want to add in a half a pack of Lipton onion soup mix. Just sprinkle that on top and then stir this again. That's pretty much all the seasonings we're going to add, just that packet of soup mix, just because it really does add a lot of great flavor. Now for the pork chops, I'm using 4 boneless pork chops and just place them right on top of the casserole. Make sure they're not overlapping, and then you're going to want to sprinkle the other half of the Lipton onion soup mix over the top of the pork chops. This gives them wonderful flavor. Cover this with foil and bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 75 minutes or until the rice is fluffy and the pork chops are tender. Here's my plate of food. This is not your average pork chop dinner. These are not your basic hockey puck dry pork chops. These pork chops are so tender and so delicious. My family absolutely devours this dinner, and that rice is perfectly fluffy. I did serve this alongside of some steamed carrots. This one is for all of my friends wanting a meatless meal. We are making this black bean casserole now. I have a 9x13 baking dish. To the baking dish, I added 1 1/4 cup of chicken broth, or you could use a veggie broth. Next, I added in 1 cup of uncooked quinoa. I did rinse my quinoa in a mesh strainer just to clean it, but it is uncooked. Then I added in 15 ounces of drained and rinsed black beans, 10 ounces of red enchilada sauce, or you could use green enchilada sauce if you'd prefer, and then 1 can of Rotel. For my seasonings, I'm adding in a half a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of salt, onion powder, garlic powder, cumin, and oregano, or you could just add in a tablespoon of taco seasoning, whatever you prefer. Give this a really good stir and kind of even the quinoa out so it's not just in one area. Cover this with aluminum foil and bake this in a preheated oven to 375 degrees for about 25 minutes. After this is out of the oven, you are going to want to remove the aluminum foil and give this a really good stir. Now sprinkle on about 1.5 cups of Mexican style cheese. You don't have to add the cheese if you don't care for cheese or you don't want to add it on, but if you've seen any of my other videos or if you know me, you know how much I love cheese. Bake this for an additional 15 minutes and then you could serve this up. My family absolutely loves this dinner, and then we like to top it with our favorite kind of like enchilada topping. So we topped ours today with a little bit of guacamole, sour cream, lime, and cilantro, but top yours with anything you love. Now we're making this chicken pot pie casserole, and you guys, Macy just gobbled this up. She absolutely loved it. To begin, I have a can of biscuits right here. I just cut them into smaller pieces. I'll set them to the side. I have a 9x13 baking dish. I'm spraying it with nonstick spray. Now I'm adding in 2 cups of cooked shredded chicken. You could cook up your chicken on the stove. You could cook it up in the Instant Pot, or you could buy a rotisserie chicken, whatever you prefer. Then I added in a can of cream of chicken soup along with 3/4 cup of sour cream, a cup of shredded cheddar cheese, and 1.5 cups of frozen mixed vegetables. Now for the seasonings, add in a teaspoon of salt, pepper, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, thyme. And I do want to let you know, for all these casseroles today, I'm using a 9x13 baking dish, but if you don't want to make as much, if you're just making this dinner for a smaller amount of people, you could always half these recipes into an 8x8 baking dish if you like. Last thing I added in was 1/3 cup of milk, and I gave this a really good stir. Now I'm going to add in the cut up biscuit pieces, and I'm just not going to place them on top. I'm going to kind of push them down a little bit so they're incorporated into the casserole, so you get a biscuit piece in each bite, not just on top. This is going to bake in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 40 minutes, or until the biscuit pieces are beautifully golden brown on the top. This dinner is so easy to throw together, and it is just so perfect for this time of year. It is comfort food to the max, and if you want to, you can make this dinner ahead and you could freeze it kind of like into a freezer meal for those crazy busy nights. This one reheats super wonderfully. Now we're making this ham and noodle casserole. So to this pot of boiling water on my stove, I'm adding in 12 ounces of egg noodles. Just cook those egg noodles up according to the package instructions. And while those egg noodles are cooking away, over to my baking dish, I'm adding in 1/2 cup of sour cream. I'm using the light version of sour cream, but you could use any version of sour cream that you like. Next, add in 1/3 cup of milk along with a can of cream of chicken soup. For the seasonings, I'm using a teaspoon of salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and Italian seasoning. Give this a really good whisk and you will watch it form into a sauce. Now that this is well combined, I'm going to add in the rest of my ingredients. So first I'm adding in 16 ounces of diced ham, and then the cooked egg noodles that we just cooked up on the stove. Now 1/2 cup of shredded cheddar cheese, and you're going to give this a stir, and you're going to coat the sauce in the noodles and just combine the ingredients well. When your casserole looks like this, just sprinkle 1 cup of shredded Colby Jack cheese over the top, spread that cheese out, and then cover this with aluminum foil. Bake this in a preheated oven to 350 degrees for about 25 minutes. Then remove the foil and bake this for an additional 15 minutes, or until the cheese is a nice golden color on the top. This casserole pairs so nicely with steamed peas on the side. This casserole is so delicious and filling. Also, ham is pretty affordable, so this casserole is a nice affordable dinner that my whole family loves. You guys, my cookbook will be out so soon, and there is a high quality picture for every single recipe in this book. And if you're a part of my email newsletter group, you will be the first to know when it does come out. And if you're not a part of that group, make sure you join. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.